What's up, chess player? In this video, I want to share with you my thought process as an international master trying to solve the puzzles. This is how I train at chess, how I try to be better, and this is arguably the best thing that you can do to consistently improve your chess. This is a puzzle from an amazing book from Jacob Aagaard's Calculation, which I'm going through right now. And so here it's white to move and we need to find the best move. Now feel free to pause the video first to try to think about it and come up with your solution, then compare your thought process with mine, and of course your solution with mine and with the right one. Okay, I hope you invested your time, because believe me, this is the most useful part for you. And now let's go. So what I do from the very beginning when I get a new position to solve, or the same way as if I'm gonna play this position as white in a real tournament game. First of all, I need to evaluate the position so that I understand what I'm playing for. To evaluate the position, we need to take a look at different factors. The king's safety. This is very important, because if your king is not safe, you might lose even if you have an extra queen. Okay, let's take a look at that. From the first impression, it feels to me that this king is more safe than the opponent's king, because here there is nobody guarding the back rank, whereas here I have the knight. The second thing I want to evaluate is the material, whether somebody has a material advantage or we have a balance. Well, both of us have a queen, two rooks, and one minor piece, but white does have an extra pawn, so that's very good to know. The third thing is the pieces activity. Maybe one side has much more active pieces, and that gives a huge advantage. Well, in this case, I feel like I have two active pieces here and two rather passive pieces. Whereas my opponent has kind of 3.5 active pieces. Those rooks, the queen, are very active. And this bishop, yes, it's good, it's controlling the whole diagonal, although those f3 and g2 pawns really are doing a very good job in blocking it. The next thing I'm thinking about is whether my opponent has any direct threats, because if he's threatening to give me a forced checkmate, then I must only focus on something incredibly active or defending against this checkmate. There is no other way. I cannot think about promoting this pawn here in 7 moves if my opponent is going to checkmate me immediately. So this is why it's essential to think about what your opponent's idea might be. Okay, I don't really see any direct threats here. He might, of course, somehow double the rooks along the first rank, but I don't see any checks. I mean, it's still a very long way. My queen is also controlling this very important diagonal over here. I don't see how he might create any direct threat. That's very good. That means I can more focus on my own plans. And now finally I come to it. What kind of opportunities I have? But notice that it's only the third step. The first one was to evaluate the position. The second one was to think what kind of opportunities my opponent has. What is he dreaming about, hoping for? This is so essential. You never play chess alone, and 99% of the games you're losing, you lose it because you don't think enough about what your opponent wants to do. But now, finally, I'm coming to my opportunities. This is the fun part, and I always start with the most active ones: checks, captures, and threads, because chances are, if there is something great, that will be one of those moves. And if you're gonna miss it because you're not going in this direction, that would be a pity. So let's start with the check. The only two checks I see here are queen to d8 and rook a8. By the way, you have to be very open-minded, because sometimes even blundering your queen in one move can be the winning opportunity. But in this case, queen d8 doesn't bring anything. He's gonna just take rook a8. This is a little bit more interesting, because he has to take, well, let's say he has to take with the bishop, and then the ace rank is open, so I have a check queen to b8. But this is unfortunately not a checkmate. You can just play rook to d8. That would cover the back rank, protect the bishop, and I don't achieve anything. So no checks. Then comes the captures. I can take here on b7. Well, what is the most active answer for my opponent? To take it back with the rook, and then I'm in exchange down. I don't see any benefit to it, so that also doesn't seem like a very good move to me. That means I don't have any checks and captures. Now we come to the third step, which are the threats. How can I create a threat? And we also go in the same direction. First of all, we are thinking, can we create any threats for the king? Secondly, we think, can we create any threats to the queen? And then all of the pieces in the order. Yeah, I don't really see any direct threats to the king, although I acknowledge the fact that there is nobody guarding the ace rank, and that might be relevant in this position. How can I attack the queen? Once again, you should be open-minded. You should consider all of the options, even if at first glance it seems to be ridiculous. For example, I have here the move rook to e2. That's attacking the queen and it's improving its rook's position. So it feels like a fantastic move. You always want to connect more pieces to the attack. There is one little problem with it, though, the fact that the rook is actually unprotected. So of course, whenever you move your piece, first of all, consider what happens if this piece is going to be taken. So rook to e2. Queen takes e2. Do I have any follow-up? Well, once again, I must always and always start with the check. So rook to e8, check. He cannot really block it with well, he actually can. Along the c file, he has two pieces, but first of all, the most active move, which is bishop takes a8. Then I have queen b8 check. Now he can sacrifice all of his pieces one by one, but then it's still a checkmate. So bishop a8 is not an option. Now I have to think about bishop c8 and rook c8. Well, let's start with rook c8, because it's attacking my rook there on 8 twice. If I just take with a check, he takes back, and I don't really have a good follow-up. Queen d8 is not possible, the square is covered. Maybe queen takes b7. So I don't have any checks apart from rook takes c8 in that variation. So once again, if you have lost me, the variation is rook e2, queen takes e2, rook to a8, check, rook to c8, and now queen takes b7. Because if he just takes back, I have rook takes c8 and checkmate again. If he takes my rook though, I take it back, and once again there's a checkmate. And he doesn't really have any way to deal with the threats because all of the rooks are hanging, and this rook is hanging twice. So something like queen e8 doesn't help because I'm going to just win it and have an extra knight in the end. Okay, I like it so far. So rook e2, queen takes, rook e8, rook c8 doesn't work. What about bishop c8? Do I have any follow up in this variation? Because you only need to find one variation that doesn't work for you to make a conclusion that, okay, this is a bad line. Well, rook c8 is the only check I see. Queen d8 is there as well, but that's just plundering the queen. And if I play rook takes c8, just rook takes, and he has so many extra pieces, I don't have any follow-up. Do I have something better than that? Actually, don't see it, because he needs just one tempo to play something like rook d8. Or no, rook d8 is actually not possible now, but I was thinking about queen to a6, attacking this bishop, which is pinned, but he can just play rook to d8, and then everything is protected. Yeah, I don't see anything at all for me. Do I have anything else? Don't think so. Rook c7 is coming, queen e8 is coming, and he's gonna protect everything. So rook e2, queen takes e2, rook e8, just bishop c8. No, I don't see anything, unfortunately, because the variation seems to be so lucrative for me. It seems like I'm just checkmating, but of course the most important thing, and so many players are doing it the wrong way, they are not thinking enough about what their opponent can do. And this is why they lose in chess, because you never play alone. You always have to think what kind of opportunities your opponent has, and you always need to try to find the best one for him, not the one that you like. Okay, what kind of opportunities do I have apart from rook to e2? I like this move because it allowed me to bring another piece into the attack, which I lack somehow here. Yes, I have two pieces. Yes, I attack the bishop, but I don't feel that it's enough. Okay, I have another idea. If I play rook e2, he takes, maybe I can just take it on b7. And by the way, I can take it both with the queen and the rook. That seems to be promising, because I still play for this back rank issue, and once I eliminate the bishop, then he's not going to be able to block the check via c8. So for example, rook e2, queen takes b7, rook takes b7, I have rook a8, checkmate. I mean, you can sacrifice all of your rooks and queens there, but checkmate is still coming. So you cannot take my queen. That means that I'm attacking this rook on d7, and I'm still threatening that horrible check. And if you play rook d8 to cover the back rank, then I have queen takes f7, queen takes g7, checkmate. That is also very nice. If you try to bring your queen back, well, the rook is hanging twice. It doesn't help to protect the rook. That variation feels to work. I like it more and more. And what I also must check is somehow counterplay for my opponent. But he doesn't have any checks. Queen e3 is covered. This knight in general is a very good defender for the king, because it covers so many squares, and it covers the first rank by just staying there on f1. So he can take here on f1, that's the only check I see, but then just king takes and it's not enough. Otherwise, there are no checks. Either I'm blundering something, or this variation works perfectly for me. Rook e2, queen takes b7. I'm threatening just to win the rook. If the rook moves, I have checkmate in 2, no matter where the rook... Well, actually, it's not true. He can play rook to c7. Now I cannot take on f7. But I have my first idea, rook a8, and rook c8. I just take it, and once again, that's a checkmate. Okay, now I discovered another move my opponent can make, bishop to e4 after rook e2 on move 1, but to say the least, I can just exchange on d7 and take on e4, and that would be an extra piece. That cannot be bad for me. And also I have some... wait, rook a8 is... Yeah, rook a8 is actually a move. If he takes with the bishop, I have rook takes a7, rook takes a7, and queen d8 with a checkmate. So yeah, that works perfectly. Other moves except for taking the rook, because so far I have only covered that, so I need to consider another opportunity. The queen can go somewhere back. For example, there is a check. Check is always the first thing you must consider. So queen c5, but we just take it, rook takes, and rook a8 checkmate. So the queen actually cannot leave the control of the e8 square. That would be a checkmate. So for example, queen d8 and queen f8 are the squares that still control that square. But the problem is queen d8, I can always just take it and win the bishop for free. And queen f8, I just can take the bishop immediately there. Yeah, I feel like rook e2 is the right move in this position that wins the game. And now let's check the solution together. This is a great moment for me to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, Chestnut, for providing this amazing Chestnut Evo board, where I have the book I have mentioned, Grandmaster Preparation Calculation from Jacob Agard. I have the position I'm solving here, and very nice format that allows me just to take a look at the position first, solve it, and then click on show or hide solution, where I can take a look at, yes, I've actually found the right move, rook to e2. And also, I can just click on this move, and I have this second board, which is very helpful when you analyze some sidelines. I hate this about chess books when you are learning and there is a main line, but then there is a 20-move sideline that you absolutely have to take a look. But if you are moving the pieces here, completely forgot what the initial position was, and that is such a headache. But here I can just click all the sidelines, for example here. For example, rook to d2. Oh my god, I haven't even thought about it at all, but that's not a good move in this position. And black played here rook takes d2, which is another mistake, but they could have just played rook c to c7, and that would deal with most of the problems, and black can still play normally. But in the game, if I don't want to lose this position, this line is not that long, but let's say I want just to use my second board to take a look at that, I can just click on the moves here. So black played rook takes d2, then rook takes b7, rook g2, and after king g2 they resigned. That's a very weird sequence of moves, but okay. And queen to e3 was a bad option for white as well from the starting position, because just rook to b4, and then black attacks that pawn, and if he can take it back, then it's equal. There is no way for white to win. But rook to e2, that's the main line, and fortunately we have found it correctly together. Let me know in the comments if you have managed to find this move. Now queen takes e2, and exactly this move, queen takes b7. That's the point, according to what Mr. Agard is writing, and I definitely agree with that. Now rook takes b7 and rook a8 is checkmate. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you're interested in buying this board from Chestnut or any other of their products, make sure to use the Journey to Grandmaster coupon code or the link in the description to get a huge discount on your purchase. I mean, you're not gonna regret this decision at all. This board has completely changed the way I train chess, and believe me, I don't want to go back. Now, in this video, I share with you the attacking principles you absolutely must know to kill your opponent in chess. If you want to give a beautiful checkmate in your very next chess game, this video is perfect for you.